Well, g'day guys, hope you're all doing well today. I'm going to do a short video today in response to a question that I got on YouTube about breeding ferrets. The question he asked was about when do you put the gill in with the buck, how long do you wait, and is there a set thing that I do? So I'll answer that straight off the bat. What I normally do is when the gill first comes on heat, normally I'll wait about 2 weeks and they'll swell right up and start to emit a little bit of fluid. Once I see that happening, I'll drop them in with the buck. Now, depending on your buck, some of them can be really savage with the gills, even to the point where they'll kill them if you leave them in there too long. Some of them are that bad. I've had one or two that were pretty savage, but the last couple that I've bred with have been pretty good. But anyway, what I normally do is wait for that 2 weeks, wait till they're swelled right up completely, till they're emitting a bit of fluid from their vulva, and then I'll drop them in with the male, but I don't leave them in. I'll put them in for about 4 or 5 hours and then take the gill out. And then that night I'll put them in again, like for an hour or two, let them mate again. The next day I'll do the same thing, and then that's it. So I only put them in there for about 4 hours on the first day, about an hour at night time. Next morning I'll put them in for about 4 hours, pull them out, and then they're done. Normally that's about all I have to do. It's too hard on them and it takes a lot out of them, because the male sort of drags them around, and they'll just keep on hammering them until, you know, as much as every time they feel like it. So it's real rough on the gill, so I don't leave them in with the bucks at all. When I've got a vasectomized buck and a bunch of gills and I'm not going to breed, I'll leave him in with them. But normally if there's a bunch of gills, because what they'll do is they'll go from gill to gill, it's not just one gill getting hammered all the time. So that sort of thing's okay, but that's the way I go about it. I don't leave them in for days or a week or anything like that. There's no real need. Normally, if you've got a fertile buck, after he mates with the gill 2 or 3 times, the job's already done. So that's normally what I do. And I'll just mention on this video a few other things about breeding that I can recall that I think's important. One of the number one things that I disagree with breeding is breeding related ferrets. I've done it before. I've followed that line of line breeding where you get 2 really good parents and you want to get kits that are like the parents, so they'll breed father to daughter and all that sort of stuff. That's a tragedy in the making. I've been down that road, and eventually what happens is you'll end up, I'm just going to cover it quickly, you'll end up with ferrets with compromised immune systems, deformity to their conformation, as well as psychological issues when in severe cases. So that's what you can hope for if you follow that line over a length of generations. Every generation they'll get worse. So I never ever breed ferrets that are related. I more rely on a priority trait system, where if I've got a gill that's lacking in a particular area of the 9 priorities that I look at, I'll bring in something that's very strong in the area that they're weak in and put them together. That's normally what I do to try and cement the priority trait that I'm looking for, the one that she's weak in, into the line, and I'll keep breeding that into her line until it becomes stable and it's a consistent in the kits. So that's what I normally try and do. It was like this here, these kits here. Here's a couple of bucks here. These are Shorty's bucks from this here Shorty and Spike. And you've all seen Shorty. We call her Shorty because she's a little bit short in the body. And you look at these kits, how long they are in the body, big long legs. Shorty had very, very short legs and a little bit short in the body, and look at these ferrets. and that's because I put spike over them to complement and try and fix up the areas that Shorty was weak in. She's a fantastic ferret. She's got the best prey drive I've ever seen in a ferret, which is one of the major things why we bred her. And I already know, like, okay, she's a fantastic ferret, it's really good, but she's a little bit weak in some areas. So what I did is put her to a buck that was very strong in her weaknesses, and that's what you end up with. And this is her gills from this year. Beautiful gills, mate, like really long in the body, long in the legs, and that was the area that she was weak in. So these ferrets will be better on their feet. Shorty wasn't particularly good on her feet because of her conformation. These ferrets will be better. So that's sort of just something that I do. You just sort of, and every year your ferrets that you've got, you look at their strengths and their weaknesses, and you bring a buck in. I always do it that way. Bring a buck in that's strong in the areas that and where they're weak, and then put them in to try and bring that into the line and make it so it stays in all of the kits. Yeah, so what else been happened? You all knew about Buffy. She lost 2 litters. I bred her 3 times this year, and finally I got some to stay on the ground, and I've never had that happen in my life. But anyway, there's Buffy, and she is a gorgeous ferret, mate. And I'll just quickly show you her kits while I'm doing this video. Yeah, had a lot of people who had trouble with breeding this year. It was the strangest year. I've never ever seen it happen before in my 50 years of owning ferrets. And look at her kits, mate. I don't know if that's going to come out, but they are gorgeous, mate. Big, long ferrets. And there's Buffy. And I've been trying to get some kits out of her all year. Finally, I got some to stay on the ground. And the only reason I bred her the 3rd time after the 2nd time is because she was in such good condition. Because she didn't have to feed any young, she sort of just had them, and they didn't suckle and died, you know, within a day or 2. So I bred her the 3rd time. I thought, well, you know, and I'm glad I did, because they really love being mothers, and it wasn't fair. Like when she lost her kits, you could tell that she wasn't a happy ferret. But now she's in her element because she's getting to be a mum. So yeah, there's Shorty's kits. They haven't been worked yet. They're not quite old enough. They're 10 weeks old, and have a look at them. Bloody magnificent ferrets, mate. Really, really, really done well. I also bred Trixie this year, and her kits are going real good. This is her kits from this year. That's Jazz, which you've all seen out. Long in the body, a little bit short in the legs compared to, not real short, but just a little bit. I'd like having the longer legs. So if I bred those kits, I'll look for a ferret, probably something more like him. I'm probably going to keep him as a breeding buck, and I can put him over that type of ferret. I obviously can't breed with them because they've got the same father, so we can't really do that. But yeah, so anyway, that's just a little bit about breeding. I'll just go on to feeding now. When you're going to know that you're going to breed a ferret, months and months out, it's a good idea to start changing their diet and make sure that they're getting a proper and balanced diet. Calcium is exceptionally important, as well as look, they've got to get everything, you know. You can't just give them bloody dog food or whatever, you know. You've got to give them, I raw feed mine primarily now. I don't give them any dry food at all anymore, and it's not really a good idea. The dry food that they make, it's full of stuff that ferrets shouldn't eat anyway, even the grain-free stuff. But if you have to give it to them, please get the grain-free stuff, and have a look at a ferret's needs. There's plenty of information online about what ferrets eat. And they primarily need meat, so that, you know, liver, most of the offal, except for the guts, of course, but they'll eat most of the offal, lungs, heart, all that sort of thing. Make sure that they're getting plenty of meat that's on the bone, because that gives them their calcium as well. You can give them stuff like chicken necks and all that, that'll give them calcium, but there is a supplement that I use, and I do that just in case, you know, it's sort of like a backup, you know, just in case they're not getting an exact balanced diet, and I'll show you that stuff. You know, some days they'll just get rabbit, you know, so if I give them like just rabbit without anything else, so it's just meat, so they're missing out on stuff. And normally I'll mix an egg in or something like that, egg yolk. I only use the yolks mainly. Look, I take a bit of the white out, but not all of it. That's the stuff I use, called Predamax, and it's a carnivore supplement. All the zoos use it, and it is recommended for ferrets. So I sprinkle them, I just dust all their rabbits and all that sort of stuff with that. Especially with well, they all get it anyway, but especially if you're going to breed a gill, and you want to look after the buck too, you know, as well. You know, it doesn't hurt that he's a healthy, vibrant buck, so everything that he needs is going into the female from him. Everything that you know, make sure he's healthy and getting plenty of vitamins, etc. The kits from Donald, still undecided about them. I like to have a look at them for a fair while, but they're very, very different. Like they're nowhere near as active as like Shorty's kits or Trixie's kits. They're just a lot more calmer and just different nature. So that's something. I've actually got one of Shorty's kits from last year in there, Sasha, and she's a beauty. So Sasha is the exact same breeding as them, so I knew what I was going to get before I actually bred her again with Spike, because I've already got one. I did have two, but one got snake bit. So that's it, guys. Anyway, I hope that answered your question, mate. Just wait a couple of weeks, then drop her in. I don't leave them in, you know, for more than 3 or 4 hours the first time, an hour the second time, and the next morning I'll just drop her in again, let her breed a couple of times, and then take her out. That's normally what I do. So I hope that answered your question. All right, guys, short video, but I just wanted to answer that guy. I said I'd make a video for him. Hope you all have a good day. Take care. Bye bye for now.